The next document I'm going to read and create videos about is a book. It's not actually, people have not suggested this book, but they've suggested the topic. People have told me talk about the so-called Mad Mullah, and this is Mohammed Abdulle Hassan. Now, this is a person who fought the British in Somalia for quite some time. He became a rebel who became very problematic to the British for quite some time. And so many people have told me, talk about Mohammed Abdulle Hassan, or as he's called, the Mad Mullah. And I'm going to read this book. And this is a book that was published in the 1920s. And this book is written by one Douglas Jardine. And he was secretary to the administration Somaliland from 1916 to 1921. So I think he participated in the campaigns against the so-called Mad Mullah. Of course, like most of these other documents, we need to take what he says with a pinch of salt, especially considering that he was the enemy, basically, of the so-called Mad Mullah. So, but it's important for us to read this document so that we see what he thought about him and the actions they were taking on their sides. Of course, there must be some level of propaganda, but again, because this book was not written for people in Somalia, this book was written for people in Britain. Of course, there is propaganda a little bit for the people in Britain, but I'm thinking primarily this book was written by high-ranking officers and officials. And when a document is written for high-ranking officers and officials, often there is very little propaganda because there is need to tell them what is, not to try to play some PR stunts. So for that reason, we might kind of like get some valuable information out of this book. But I'm starting this book after I'm finished with the first steps in East Africa or Eastern Africa by Richard Burton. Those are my random thoughts.